Hi. Certain things make you a better musician. The most obvious would be practice. Practicing your scales, arpeggios, lead licks, chord progressions, things along those lines. I'm a very mediocre guitarist because I hate to practice. What I love to do though is create music, develop music and musical ideas. Now there's two ways that I do this, things that work for me, and I just want to share them with you. The most obvious would be the circle of fifths. Let's take a look at the circle of fifths without becoming too theoretical and without going through too much explanation. You'll notice on this chord wheel that certain chords are within the same grouping. Now a basic blues progression will involve a root, a fourth, and a fifth. Now you don't have to really memorize that too much. Once you get involved in this, then you can fool around with it and you'll see what the connection is. But if we go from a C, F, G, we have this. Okay, very basic. Now of course there's other chords involved in that chord wheel. So let's consider going from an A minor to a C, A minor, G, F, A minor. So they all sound harmonious. So you know you're not going to fall into too much trouble when you're trying to create a chord progression. However, you're going to notice that next to the A minor is the B minor. So that can be included within that grouping. So you can go from your A minor to the B minor. And you can hear how it creates tension, but it still sounds as if they belong together. Then we'll throw in the E minor. And of course the E minor works because it's also part of the original grouping. So that's how the circle of fifths work, and you can use this to develop a chord progression and then improvise your melody on top, or you might already have a melody at the tip of your fingers or in your head and you need to find out what chords fit that melody, and this is where this comes in handy. Besides regular practice, the other factor that helps make you a better musician, not necessarily in terms of your skills, but certainly in how you express yourself, is being able to play other genres of music. If you're always playing metal music, then try to get into some jazz, some bluegrass, country, hip-hop, any genre that you're not used to, and you tend to play differently, you tend to phrase your lead licks differently. And what I like to do in my compositions is to create a lot of diversity. So I might have a song that's metal based, might have another one that's more new age, another one that has more of a country flavor. Now in order to do that, you definitely need some skilled musicians by your side, and not everyone has access to bandmates or people who are going to create all kinds of different music or sounding music for you to improvise or to develop your songs. And that's where I have come to discover a program called Band in a Box. Now this has been around for about 30 years, and I used it years ago when I dabbled in music. It was a MIDI based program, but it has come so far in terms of what it offers. But what I want to do is go over some of the basics in terms of quickly putting together a song and using various styles to create some improvisation over. I'm starting with a 2-bar fill-in, and I'll continue on with an F minor to a C minor for 8 bars. And you're going to notice on the far left side those colored part markers. Those part markers represent a drum fill and also a change in that particular style. Now we're going to change completely to a different style, something a little more up-tempo, although it's still an even 16 beat. Now this will transition to a heavier hard rock drum beat. Now for another 8 bars, this will continue on and then transition to the original style of music. And once this is over, we go back to the heavier drum beat, And if this doesn't make sense, it will a little bit later. I created a short composition to give you an idea how I combine different music styles and how I improvise over it. Also keep in mind that what you're hearing are MIDI sounds. Band in the Box is known for their real tracks, which means they've sampled guitar players, drummers, bassists, piano players, and you can then use those styles of music or even take a real track and substitute for one of the MIDI tracks. Next, I'll play some guitar over the track we just heard while covering some of the more useful and cool tools I like in Band in a Box.